Hello students, let us discuss what we have learned in our last video. In our last video, we have seen that as the dilution increases, then concentration of the electrolyte decreases and its impact on the molar conductivity that it will increase. Or we can say G, which is conductance increases. Now, as the dilution increases, then why does the molar conductance increases? Now, why this happens? Because on dilution, the distance between the ions, which are the charge carriers, that distance will increase. As a result, the force of attraction between these ions, it decreases. Therefore, the ions are free to move. Or in other words, we can say the mobility increases. As the mobility increases, they will be able to carry more and more current. Therefore, molar conductivity increases. But what will happen if we keep on doing dilution? That means if we carry out dilution to an infinite level, or we carry out dilution to such a level where the concentration of electrolyte becomes zero concentration. Now what will be the impact on the molar conductivity? That we are going to discuss in this video. Okay, first of all, speaking zero concentration. Now zero concentration, it is practically impossible because the concentration has to be there. We can say the concentration is negligible. So, when we carry out the infinite dilution, that time the molar conductivity will be termed as lambda m naught, or we can also write as lambda m infinity. We can also call it as cap naught m or cap m infinite. Now this symbol 0, it represents for this zero concentration, and therefore this is the standard symbol that is followed for molar conductivity at infinite dilution. Now generally the students think that whenever we are speaking about infinite dilution, that means we are adding maximum solvent to the solute. We are going on addition of more and solvent. But that is not so. Infinite dilution actually means where the saturation level arises. Saturation of what? Saturation of this molar conductivity. I will explain with this example. Volume, which is in let's say milliliter, and molar conductivity lambda m or cap n, Simon centimeter square mole inverse. Now let us say I have 1 ml electrolyte, or I have added 1 ml solvent to the electrolyte. That time lambda m is 0.2 Simon centimeter square mole inverse. If I make the volume to 2 ml, then it becomes 0.21. If I make the volume 3 ml, it becomes 0.22. Like this, if I go on increasing the volume, let's say now I have made the volume of the electrolyte to 10 ml and lambda m becomes 0.3 Simon centimeter square mole inverse. If I made the volume 11 ml, then also value remains same. If I made the volume 12 ml, then also volume remains same. Now this is saturation point, or this is I will call as molar conductivity at infinite dilution or molar conductivity at zero concentration. So now this molar conductivity will be given a new term, limiting molar conductivity. As I have already told you that limiting molar conductivity is shown by lambda m naught. So how can we define limiting molar conductivity? It is the molar conductance of any electrolyte at infinite dilution. That means it will be that point where although we keep on increasing the volume, the conductance, it achieves a saturation level. Now this change in lambda m on infinite dilution, it depends on the electrolyte. If it is a strong electrolyte, or if it is a weak electrolyte. Both shows different type of behavior on infinite dilution. So we'll be discussing the changes in the molar conductivity on dilution of strong electrolytes separately and weak electrolytes separately. So let us discuss variation of molar conductivity for strong electrolyte. Based on this topic, we have graphical based question as well as give reason question. I will say mark this topic as important one. Okay. What are strong electrolytes? The one which dissociates completely. In other words, the strong electrolytes, for them alpha is 100%, degree of dissociation is 100%, or I will say alpha is equal to 1. That means as soon as electrolyte is diluted, it will dissociate. So what will be the impact of infinite dilution? Now if this strong electrolyte is diluted more, then alpha is not going to change. Why alpha will not change? Because the ions has already dissociated. So number of ions is not going to change. So these charge carriers ions, they have already dissociated and they will not dissociate more, but still the conductance increases. Why? Because on dilution the ions move away, the distance increases and the mobility increases. Therefore conductance will also increase. We can have one more concept, that generally lambda conductance is equal to K into V, where K is conductivity. What happens on dilution? On dilution, K will decrease, but volume increases, and the impact of volume, increase in volume, that impact is so much that it will overcome the impact of decrease in K, and therefore lambda, or that is molar conductivity, also increases. We can also correlate this to Ostwald dilution law. So according to Ostwald's dilution law, we know alpha is inversely proportional to square root of C. That means as the concentration decreases, alpha will increase, and alpha will increase, molar conductivity also increases. Okay. If we plot a graph of molar conductivity against root C, this knot will not be there. Then for strong electrolyte, the graph will be a straight line. Why? Because it will dissociate immediately as soon as it is diluted. This portion will indicate high concentration, where alpha will be approximately equal to 1, and this part will increase low concentration, that means it is showing the dilution. Alpha will be equal to approximately 99%. Now if I extrapolate this graph, and if I touch this point on y-axis, this one, so this will indicate a zero concentration, and this point can be indicated as limiting molar conductivity, lambda m naught. So this point is indicating the molar conductance at infinite dilution. So we can say the limiting molar conductivity for strong electrolyte can be calculated graphically. This is an important question, as well as this graph is important one. Suppose I want to find out this value. We denote it as A, and it is a constant. This value can be found out by using the equation y equals to mx plus c. What is the value of y? Y will be the this coordinate. So molar conductivity equals to limiting molar conductivity minus A into root C. Now this A will be called as a constant. Now this value of A depends on the type of the electrolyte. This equation lambda m equals to lambda m naught minus A root C is called as Debye-Huckel-Onsager equation. Now this value of A, it depends on electrolyte, especially the charge that is present on cation and anion. For example, NaCl, it will be called as 1:1 electrolyte. CaCl2, it will be called as 1:2 electrolyte. AlCl3, it will be called as 1:3 type of electrolyte. So the value of A, this constant, depends on the type of the electrolyte. So this was about the variation of molar conductivity for strong electrolyte. What you have to remember mainly, as soon as the electrolyte is diluted, then it will immediately dissociate, and therefore the graph will be a steep straight line. And the value of limiting molar conductivity can be calculated graphically. Please remember this point for strong electrolyte. For strong electrolyte, the value of A or the value of limiting molar conductivity can be calculated graphically. Since the graph is a straight line. But this is not the case with weak electrolyte. So let us see how does the weak electrolyte shows variation on infinite dilution. We know that weak electrolytes, they do not dissociate completely. They dissociate very slowly. For them, alpha or the degree of dissociation is very less than 1. Since they dissociate very slowly, and therefore their impact on the molar conductivity will also change. Let us see that. Again here I will say, as the concentration decreases, alpha increases. This is also in accordance with Ostwald's dilution law. So according to Ostwald's dilution law, alpha is inversely proportional to square root of C. So what happens? As you go on decreasing the concentration, as you go on diluting, the alpha will increase, and as the alpha increases, the number of ions formed increases, and therefore conductivity also increases. This is an important give-reason question, whether it is with respect to strong electrolyte or whether it is with respect to weak electrolyte. Let us have a look on the graph. Again, we'll take the same coordinates on x and y axis, root C on x axis and molar conductivity on y axis. As we go on diluting, as we go on decreasing the concentration, slowly the dissociation will increase, and therefore molar conductivity will go on increasing. So we can say this part is a high concentration one. This area will represent alpha less than 1, and this represents low concentration, where alpha will be approximately equal to 1, because the weak electrolytes, they dissociate slowly. Since they dissociate slowly, then there will be a sharp increase in molar conductivity. For strong electrolytes, we have calculated A graphically, but for weak electrolytes, A cannot be calculated graphically. Or I will say the limiting molar conductivity, that cannot be calculated graphically. Why? Because this line will be parallel to y-axis. Never ever it will touch y-axis. So approximately I can say this will be A. But still I need the value of limiting molar conductivity. which we cannot calculate graphically, and therefore we have to find out some other way to find limiting molar conductivity or lambda m naught for weak electrolytes. Kolash was the scientist who gave the law for calculating the limiting molar conductivity for especially weak electrolytes. It is also called as law of independent migration of ions. This topic, I will say again, it is very important one. The statement can be asked or the numerical can be asked. The statement says limiting molar conductivity of an electrolyte can be represented as the sum of individual contribution of anion and cation. Pay attention to this word. He has said an electrolyte. That means we can correlate this law to strong electrolyte, although specially it is made for weak electrolyte. Let us see how we can use Kolash law to find out limiting molar conductivity of a weak electrolyte. I will take a very simple example. HCl plus NH4OH gives NH4Cl and H2O. Now I want to find out limiting molar conductivity of ammonium hydroxide, which is a weak electrolyte. For that, first of all, I will calculate limiting molar conductivity of HCl, that is equal to lambda naught H plus lambda naught Cl minus. Let us label this as equation number 1. For NH4Cl, now you might think that although Kolash law is for weak electrolyte, here I am considering the strong electrolyte. It is because in the statement itself it is given that for any electrolyte, and therefore we are using this example. As well as we have to remember that on dilution, the weak electrolyte try to behave like a strong electrolyte, and therefore they try to proceed towards alpha equal to 100%. Okay. Now when we know the independent values, how can we use that? I will subtract first equation from the second one and add plus 3. So what I will get here? Lambda naught NH4 plus Cl minus lambda naught H plus lambda naught Cl minus lambda naught H plus lambda naught OH minus. Let us cancel out the terms. Lambda naught Cl minus, this is also lambda naught. This will get cancelled. Then lambda naught H plus and this will get cancelled. What is left with us? Lambda naught NH4 plus lambda naught OH minus, and that is equal to limiting molar conductivity of NH4OH. So this is how we are able to find out the limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolyte. I will take one more example. If I want to find out the limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid, how I will find out? It will be the addition of the conductivity of cation and anion produced by that electrolyte on dilution. One more example, like let's say I want to find out for MgCl2, then it will be the conductivity of Mg2 plus and the conductivity of Cl minus. Since Cl2 I have taken it as a stoichiometric coefficient. In simple words, we can say that the limiting molar conductivity for the electrolyte will depend on V plus naught, lambda naught plus V minus naught and lambda naught minus, where this will represent the molar conductivity of cation and anion, whereas V0 plus and V0 minus will represent the number of cation and anion produced by that electrolyte. So what are the applications of Kolash law? It helps us to calculate the molar conductivity at infinite dilution for weak electrolyte. For example, just now we have seen the limiting molar conductivity of ammonium hydroxide can be calculated as the limiting molar conductivity of ammonium cation as well as the limiting molar conductivity of hydroxide ion. So we can calculate the molar conductivities at infinite dilution for weak electrolyte. Secondly, we can also calculate degree of dissociation. Since it becomes little bit difficult for weak electrolyte to calculate the degree of dissociation, Kohlrausch law helps us. He has given a very simple formula. Alpha equals to lambda m upon lambda m naught. That is the conductivity, molar conductivity upon limiting molar conductivity. The third application of Kohlrausch law is the calculation of dissociation constant, that is Ka for weak electrolyte. We will see how to do that. We know that Ka equals to C alpha square upon 1 minus alpha. For weak electrolyte, we are taking 1 minus alpha equals to 1. Therefore, Ka will be directly equals to C alpha square, or I will say Ka equals to C lambda m upon lambda m naught m square upon 1 minus lambda m upon lambda naught m. Although we are going to consider this 1 minus alpha right now here. On solving this, we get Ka equals to C into lambda naught m upon lambda naught m into lambda naught m minus lambda m. You can say that as a cap naught m minus cap m. So this is the formula that we are going to use to solve our numericals, as well as this one. So based on these two formulas, we have numericals. Let us solve first numerical based on Kohlrausch law. We are supposed to calculate molar conductivity of acetic acid. Acetic acid is a weak electrolyte at infinite dilution. That means we are supposed to calculate the limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid. And given with us the values are of molar conductivity of at infinite dilution for sodium acetate, hydrochloric acid and sodium chloride. So first of all, we must know the reaction. Sodium acetate reacts with HCl to give acetic acid and NaCl. I want to calculate the limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid. So therefore, limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid equals to limiting molar conductivity of sodium acetate plus limiting molar conductivity of HCl minus limiting molar conductivity of NaCl. Let us substitute these values. For sodium acetate, it is 91.0. Please make it as 91.05. So 91.05 plus 425.9, which is for HCl, and for NaCl it is minus 126.4. Solving this, we get the value 390.5 Simon centimeter square mole inverse. So these are quite easy numerical. I will say all the numericals based on Kohlrausch law, they are the easiest numericals. Simply you have to find out the reaction and then subtract the values or add the values, you will get the answer. In the next numerical, the molar conductance of acetic acid at infinite dilution is given to us 390.7. So let us write that value. 39.07 Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. The concentration of acetic acid is given 0.01 m molar, and the dissociation constant, that is Ka, is given as 1.8 into 10 to power minus 8. We are supposed to find out the molar conductivity of acetic acid. It's a very interesting numerical. Okay. Now we know that alpha equals to square root of Ka upon C. Let us write this as equation 1. We also know that alpha equals to molar conductivity upon limiting molar conductivity. This is equation number 2. So equate the values. Molar conductivity upon limiting molar conductivity equals to square root of Ka upon C. Substitute the values. Lambda m upon 390.7 equals to square root of 1.8 into 10 to power minus 8 upon the concentration is 0.01. When we solve this value, we get molar conductivity as 16.58 Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. One more numerical in which we are supposed to find out the degree of dissociation and dissociation constant of 0.025 molar methanoic acid solution, which has its limiting molar conductivity as, it's not the limiting molar conductivity, the molar conductivity is 46.1 Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. To calculate alpha, we have to use the formula lambda m upon lambda m naught. The value of molar conductivity is with us, but the value of limiting molar conductivity we are supposed to calculate. So the value of limiting molar conductivity of methanoic acid is equal to lambda naught H plus lambda naught HCOO minus. These values are already available with us. So 349.6 plus 54.6, that gives you 404.2 Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. Now this we can directly substitute. Lambda m is 46.1 upon, we have got the value 404.2. Solving this, we get 0.114. Now the value of Ka can be directly calculated as a C alpha square upon 1 minus alpha. 1 minus alpha can be ignored, and let us substitute the value for C alpha square, that is equal to 0.025 into 0.0114 square. Solving this, we get the value as 3.29 into 10 to power minus 4. So this is how, by using simple formulas, we can calculate molar conductivity, limiting molar conductivity, or we can solve the numericals related to Cauchy's law. So if I speak about the whole topic, the numericals related to today's video, they are really easy one. Try to solve these numericals on your own. These two questions, I will mark them as important one, as they are frequently asked question. Especially variation of conductivity and molar conductivity. This topic is important with respect to your board exam as well as with respect to your JEE exam. So get command on this topic. That's all for the day. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.